What are some of your favorite cookbooks for muscle building and hypertrophy training? What are the best ways to transition to barefoot shoes without getting hurt? First time I tried, I got back, knee and hip pain quickly popping up, and it was bad. So fuck your elbow is one of my favorite motivational quotes. But I would very much like to unfuck my left elbow. Anything you would recommend for elbow health?
Getting into like areas of the tricep, I would also look into getting a practitioner, and maybe we can figure out a way to get this guy set up with a 8-sleep mattress or something.
We're going to pick 2 people. Whoever wins, you're going to win Vivos of your choice. Q&A. Hey. So guys, if you are in the Discord, you know that we are taking questions for the Discord Q&A, and people who ask questions, we're going to be able to answer those questions, but then we're going to put the names in this bottle of Keto Pro. And at the end, we'll pick out 2 names. Y'all, in this specific Q&A, are going to win some Vivo Barefoot shoes.
You're going to pull some bullshit over there and like only pull out the names of your friends. Mm-hmm. You're like, look at that, Kenny Williams.
I have no friends.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I'm a lonely boy. No. We're only gonna, because there is a lot of questions.
It'll be authentic.
Yeah, we won't be able to get to all of them. So when I have the question, I'm then gonna put their name in the bottle of Keto Pro. We're gonna shake it up, and then I'm gonna let Mark pick out the name at the end, so that if anybody gets mad, they're mad at you.
Again,
they're not mad at me.
Just great.
Yes.
Just great. All right.
Why would anybody ask us questions?
You know, I ask myself that every day.
And you don't have a good answer.
I wouldn't ask myself anything.
Even when you ask yourself, you still can't figure it out.
I don't know why I'm asking myself. I should ask somebody else. But there was a lot of fucking questions.
Man,
we're not going to get on today.
We got people duped. They think we're material experts over here.
Yeah.
Expert. More like meathead. We only look like experts. Don't take anything we say seriously.
Seriously. Don't take it seriously.
All right, but real talk, guys. Thanks for all the questions. We won't be able to get to all of them, and we will hit up more questions in the next Q&A. If you want to get in on the Q&A and get in on winning some stuff from different companies we work with. Costs $20. Because everyone who had their question asked on this episode paid us beforehand. So you also have to Venmo us $20. I'll give you my username later. That is a joke. But you'll have a chance to win some stuff.
Where do I Venmo?
Do you know that Brian Johnson guy, part of the way that he got wealthy was he sold Venmo for $800 million.
Oh, shit.
That was part of his,
Brian Johnson?
Not the Liver King,
Okay,
the de-aging Brian Johnson, the guy who's like doing all these things. Like, part of his wealth was acquiring and selling Venmo.
That's wild.
Damn.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Good for him. That's a great thing to have.
I wonder if he accepted payment
Yeah.
in Venmo.
Via Venmo.
That'd be interesting.
Had to be in his Venmo account.
Yeah.
That was like 2012. Yeah, that dude's wild. Okay. You guys ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, first question comes from Rumby Rambo. What are some of your favorite cookbooks for muscle building and hypertrophy training?
That was so good.
How did that happen?
Hey, thank you for the question, Coach Greg. We really appreciate it.
We'll send you some
A
Vivos.
cookbook.
Well, I mean, I've never purchased Greg's cookbook. I don't know what's in it, but I would assume people seem to love his cookbook. So there's one. Since I had to fucking say it, but
I purchased it. It's pretty good.
It's a good cookbook?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe that Maria Emmerich has a cookbook. It's kind of more based in like carnivore diet, but she shows you every which way to cook up all different kinds of carnivore, low carbish meals. And then what I liked about that book in particular was that she did a good job of explaining what the carnivore diet is. And so that was really helpful.
There's also this one by Mark Sasson.
And Brad Kern.
And Brad Kearns. It's 2 meals a day cookbook. So there's a bunch of carnivore type, paleo type meals in there. Who is that lady that came on the show and she
Does she have the seasonings and stuff? Or is
no,
that
she didn't have the seasonings. She had all the
seasonings.
She talked about the liver and shit, like cooking with that, cooking with organ meats.
I don't remember.
Maven
in person?
Oh, yeah.
What's her?
Oh, was that
Muscle Maven.
Muscle Maven.
when we were all high?
When we were on shrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were on shrooms for that episode. I have her cookbook.
She
and
won't
it's
talk
actually
to
really
us
good.
anymore.
She won't?
I tried to hit her up. She won't talk to me.
I'd be
Probably
Nah, I'm
felt
just kidding.
disrespected.
Nah,
I'd
she
be
wants
pissed
to
off, too.
come out and be back on the show.
Okay,
So,
cool.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
That was a close one.
Yeah. She was, yeah. Anyway.
We were high.
We were really high.
Pull her page up because that was actually a really good cookbook too. But I want people to make sure
Just
to go
the cookbook.
check it out.
Mhm. Hey, if you're gonna buy a cookbook, buy it from someone that's very attractive. Why not?
Why not?
Why
Right?
Yeah.
not?
I don't want to like learn how to cook from someone who's ugly. Right?
What?
Ugly and fat. I mean, I don't want. Right?
But if
I want someone that looks that you are what you eat. Right?
She's jacked, yo.
That's
She's
what I'm
got
saying.
muscle.
That's what I'm saying.
lots
Yo.
of muscle.
Yeah. So she has a cookbook too, which is really good. What is that seasoning lady's name? Because she has a good cookbook
Hardcore
too.
carnivore. I can't remember her name
Yeah.
at the moment.
I have her cookbook at home also.
Mm.
It's very good.
The only reason I said that was because they usually say the opposite is that you can never trust a skinny chef. Have you heard people say that before?
Yeah.
They better have, they better have some wings if they're cooking in the kitchen, right?
Exactly.
They got to have a lot of experience.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then also just in terms of like diets, I'll always recommend the Vertical Diet by Stan Efferding. I think it's always a good choice. I don't know if he has a cookbook, but he does tell people how to cook up certain things. He's got his Monster Mash,
Yeah.
which is beef, cooked up ground beef. You just throw it in a pan. Really, really simple. Throw some rice in there, throw some salt, maybe some bone broth, and boom, you're done.
Yeah. I'm going to have that for dinner tonight, actually.
It's delicious.
It's super
Yeah.
easy.
You can YouTube that too. I think Stan has some simple guides on that also.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I got 2 recommendations. Well, technically 3. So my boy Remington James's cookbook, just be careful because it's a lot of super low fat, high protein stuff. So if you're not used to high protein, like could jack up your stomach pretty bad. And then also if you eat exclusively out of that, then you're not getting nowhere near enough fat. So kind of along the same lines of Coach Greg's type of book, and then also my other buddy, Exercise for Cheats. He's just came out with his book. Same thing, just got to be careful with like keeping the fat too low. And then the complete opposite side is Ruled.me, an amazing website for like high fat keto-ish diets or keto-ish foods, but. I mean, Fathead Pizza, like, come on, man. Like, it's
delicious.
so good.
Yep.
Yeah, so there you go. That's my recommendation.
And then you can't go wrong with YouTube stuff. Like just do some searches on YouTube. You'll see people cooking up all kinds of stuff all day long. I did a little series called Smelly's Kitchen, which you can check out.
That's a really good
I show people a bunch of different ways to cook stuff. It doesn't have to be complicated. All 3 of us, we don't do anything real crazy. We're not like smoking something for 30 hours and stuff. We just air fryer or something, in a pan, or maybe every once in a while on a grill.
There we
Pretty
go.
easy.
And Jess Prowls was her name.
There you go.
Hardcore carnivore lady. All right.
Good.
You guys got
Next.
that question?
Question
Rumby
number 2.
Rambo, you are now going into the
Oh.
protein.
Wow.
Hopefully you can breathe in there.
Okay, the next question from Sloan's Abroad. Question: what steps can we take to reduce the pain caused by sitting for long periods of time? I've started seminary, and the amount of time I spend studying, reading, writing papers is insane. I found my horrible rib pain starting to return just from my posture at the computer, but I feel like I physically cannot maintain good posture. I'm a powerlifter, so I've always felt strong, but from sitting, I feel so weak, if that makes sense.
Another plug for a book would be Desk Bound by Kelly Starrett. And he talks a lot about being, I don't know if we have it back there, but he talks a lot about being, oh, there it is. Yeah, we do have it. He talks a lot about, trying to have a standing desk. If that's maybe not an option for you, you might want to look at the height of your computer and the height of your chair and stuff like that, and see like how your arms and hands and stuff line up if you're like typing and searching a lot of stuff. And then probably the easiest thing I think is maybe, if it might be a little annoying, but set an alarm on your phone just to pop up every like 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
You probably need to use the bathroom or get some water or something anyway. So maybe you can just do a quick little lap around wherever it is that you are. Hopefully you're not like really confined to literally sitting for hours at a time. And hopefully you can get up. I mean, if I travel and I fly, for hours and hours on end, It's always in first class, but I'll still get up and I'll still stretch and move around.
You fucking asshole.
And,
it's first class.
And I think trying to do something different with your travel too might be a good idea. I know some people, instead of being in a car for X amount of time and trying to find parking, they'll ride their bike. Some people take the train sometimes, and that will allow you more ability to maneuver around a little bit and maybe get some work done. So I don't know, maybe some of these are options for you.
Add in some fast release if you can. We had Jill Miller on recently. Actually, I don't think her episode's going to be out when this one's out, but those soft balls, I think they're called tune-up.
Yeah, Yoga Tune-Up is your website.
Yoga Tune-Up. Those, using those for myofascial release is really nice because they're a bit squishy, but you can really dig in. And when you sit for long periods of time, things start to feel kind of tight since you're maintaining certain postures. So getting into the habit of adding that into part of your day, I know it's so many things we talk about, but that will make a big difference. This morning I woke up, I was like, there are a few spots where I was feeling some stuff. I came into the gym, just rolled around for a little bit, feel great. Right? So if you can add that in, that will help make a difference so you don't end up feeling so restricted as you're sitting for such a long period of time. Yeah. And then if you're also sitting, I think you said you're sitting on the floor, just try to get into some different positions. And yeah, it's going to be trying to add in certain things because when you do start getting super comfortable just sitting, then that posture just gets more and more cemented in. So you do have to you have to practice trying to get out of those positions and moving around a little bit as you're doing whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah. And then, so I didn't hear the part where he was sitting on the floor, but I would recommend, this is what I'm currently sitting on right now. It's just a kneeling chair. And it's great. Under $70 for the chair. Super easy to put together. But the thing about it is I sat down on a regular office chair not too long ago, and I quickly went to putting my hands on the armrest or my elbows on the armrest, and I was leaning, and I was just my posture got really bad. So by eliminating that, you're kind of forced to be upright. So that's what I use while we're podcasting. So lots of sitting for me, but it's not really full on sitting because I'm more on my knees than anything. So it's that's been super helpful for me.
Then there's kind of like a chair that you can sit in when you are on the ground, right? Like a Seiza type thing, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Kind of,
yes.
I don't know if someone wants to haul that around with them if they're in.
They're very small though.
Yeah. It's not gigantic or anything, right? So that would make things a little bit more simple.
Yeah, when you look at it, people who don't know, they're just like, that's a chair? I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
I will say this too, might be a little bit.
A bolster might not be a bad idea, just from a yoga class, just a foam block for a bolster.
Yeah, that's basically what a Seiza chair is. Yeah. It's just that little extra oomph.
Yeah, I have a Seiza chair at home.
Yeah.
Those things are sick. I like those. One thing I will say is one thing that makes me feel kind of good, especially when I'm sitting on the ground for long periods of time, and this might be overkill, but if you can just do a Superman pose for a little bit. A Superman is when, I don't know if you could pull this up on YouTube, Andrew, but you lie on your stomach and then you just go into extension. That means your hips are in extension, you're flexing your butt, you're flexing everything, and you're holding that for a few seconds, 5 to 10 seconds each or whatever. And do that for a minute or two, right? But when you activate everything in the posterior chain, when you come out of that, especially if you were sitting and you were like this, you'll kind of feel like a little bit of a reset. I don't know what this guy's doing here, but you want to really go into it. Yeah, there we go. Good. Everything in your posterior chain is going to turn on. And especially when you're sitting and you usually are getting into this posture, kind of going into the opposite will help you feel better kind of immediately. So again, don't know if that's overkill, but I'd say try that out too when you're chilling. I do that a lot when I sit.
What did this guy say he was doing, by the way? There's some sort of word in there I didn't recognize.
Yeah, she's in seminary. What's that mean?
Is that a religious thing?
I think it's, okay, you want to Google it? Because I think it's school for Seminary.
Seminary school.
Yeah. I think it's
Really not allowed to move around too much or something? I don't know.
Doctor of Ministry,
there we
Bible
go.
Studies, theology degrees.
Yeah,
it looks like able to maneuver around a little bit.
Yeah, so there we go. All right, Sloan is going into the jar. All right, we have a question from Mark with a C. What are the best ways to transition to barefoot shoes without getting hurt Been dealing with back and knee pain since the football days, and I really want to spend time barefoot. First time I tried, I got back, knee and hip pain quickly popping up, and it was bad. I really want to make this my new normal, but I can't deal with this kind of pain. Thank you.
Huh. I'm assuming that he might mean like that he's trying to like run or do some sort of
from what
activity. But, if it's what I would suggest right off the bat would be our Nsima sandals. I think they're great. I think they give you enough protection underneath the foot, and they allow your foot to be a foot. They allow your toes to be toes. There's no toe box. Your foot can spread and move around, and those work well for even running. I think personally that they have enough cushion to where you don't need to have maybe as much precaution, but I also wouldn't suggest that like day one you go out and try to like run for like an hour in those. Get used to walking in them for a little bit. The other thing I would maybe suggest is the Ultra Escalante shoe. I think that's a great, really versatile shoe. 7 millimeter underneath the foot. That's plenty of padding for really any activity. So I think that would be a good bet as well.
Yeah, and especially if like you're having a lot of issues. Let's say you try getting into the barefoot stuff and then it starts to hurt too much. That's why whenever we've mentioned this, you gotta kind of go back and forth. So the reason why these Nsimas look different is because these are the Power Sandal version 2. They're going to be out in a little bit. So right now the normal Power Sandals on the website. Those the Escalantes that Andrew has on screen, but those have a bit more padding. So, one thing that you might notice when you start transitioning to barefoot shoes, if you're running or even if you walk, is you might have very heavy feet. You might walk very heavily, but you can't necessarily do that barefoot, and you can't do that with barefoot shoes because that is a lot of impact. So the way you walk might start to change. You might be walking a little bit differently, and this takes time. The strength of your feet takes time to build. Our feet are very different than they were a few years ago when we started. But in between, there was a lot of, oh shit, my feet feel fucked today. Okay, let me wear my Ultras. Let me not do this barefoot stuff today. And then my feet feel good. Okay, let me take walks in these. You just want to be gradual with it, just like lifting, just like anything else you're trying to progress at, because you're getting a new stimulus.
Again, myofascial release would be huge. You can look at any of Kelly Starrett's book. What do we got? Supple Leopard would be great. Becoming a Supple Leopard by Kelly Starrett. Talks a lot about foot stuff. Talks a lot about how to heal your hips, your lower back, all these different things. Kelly Starrett was ahead of his time, in my opinion, in talking about like myofascial release and how we can heal some of these things. So some of those areas that are bothering you, you'll be able to directly work on them with stuff like that.
Cool. Good. All right, Mark, your name? Going into the bin. Power Project family, your normal shoes are making you weak. This is why you partner with Vivo Barefoot Shoes, because they have a wide toe box, they're flat, and they're flexible. So with every single step you're taking, if you're taking a 10-minute walk outside, or when you're working out in the gym, your feet are able to do what they're supposed to do in this shoe. They have tons of options for hiking, running, training in the gym, chilling and relaxing, casual shoes for if you're out on a date. You need to check them out. And Andrew, how can they get it?
Yes, that's over at vivobarefoot.com/powerproject, and you guys will receive 15% off your order automatically. Again, vivobarefoot.com/powerproject. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
This is a quickie. CXX. Fuck, marry, kill, running, lifting, jiu-jitsu. I'd marry jiu-jitsu because I want a long-lasting, healthy relationship with her. I would... marry jiu-jitsu. I would kill running. Because, I dig running, don't get me wrong.
You don't really have to have it.
I don't have to have it. I'm getting cardio and jiu-jitsu, and I would fuck lifting. Because it's nice to just go in and out of that every now and then. Not have to spend all my time with it, but spend a good amount of time with it. Come back later, have some fun.
Oh. Tough choices here.
Yeah, I'd have to say the exact same. Yeah. So I think with jiu-jitsu, you get your cardio in, so you don't really need to run.
You should, though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
for
that aspect of this question, and then, getting in and out of lifting, get what you need and get out, and then marry jiu-jitsu because it's amazing.
I would say, I guess, for diversity reasons, I haven't fucked jujitsu yet. So there you go.
Oh yeah,
You get some of that.
yeah. You want what you haven't had.
Yeah, see?
She's a heavy one too, so be careful.
I don't know how it tastes. You know what I mean?
Big bitch.
Yeah.
And then Mary, I've been married to lifting no matter how I want to slice it.
Yeah.
And then I guess I am trying to kill running, I guess.
All right.
Killing myself with running.
There you go. CXX, your
Thank
name
you.
is going to the protein bin. And great. I think that was the best question out of the whole bunch. I think that was the most intellectual, that had the most thought. You could just see that definitely deep thinker
Yeah,
there.
future thought leader.
Yeah, absolutely. That was actually a good question, Doc. Thank you. Okay. From Prowimal Mike. Prowimal Mike. You know what? That'll be on the screen. Yeah, you did break me, dog. Pause. How can I encourage my parents, both in their 50s, to be more active and make changes to their diets to be healthier and increase their longevity? Their response every time I initiate this topic is that it is too late regarding their age to start exercising, and it would make more damage than good if they start working out.
Yeah, that's tough.
I think, a lot of times we're promoting like working out. We're promoting the gym, we're promoting lifting. And for a lot of people that we run into, maybe that's a mistake. Maybe exercise, movement, maybe encouraging mom and dad, say, hey, that store that you like to go, that coffee shop, it's only a half mile down the street. Like maybe you guys can walk there every once in a while and enjoy being outside, especially in the summertime. Like maybe you can sell them on something slightly different. The one thing I've learned over the years is to do your best to not try to chase people that don't want to be caught. So sometimes people, they just live a different life than you, and that's totally fine. Maybe they don't, maybe that's not their thing, but I still think you can promote exercise to them. Maybe you encourage them to go to a yoga class, or maybe you say, hey, why don't you go with me? And it's just something, it's different than, what they might think of like going to the gym and, I don't know, like lifting weights. It might be too much of might be too far out of reach for them at the moment. And so maybe you can think of like, hey, when I was younger, I remember you guys used to go play tennis together. Like, you guys feel healthy enough to do, like, they might say no, but then maybe you can meet them in the middle somewhere on something.
I remember like years and years and years ago, when I was trying to like tell my mom, you need to lift more. She's like, I'm not trying to, get too, bulky. I'm like, it's so hard. And I really understand his struggle, because I'm just like, you want your parents to not just be here for a long time. You want them to be here feeling good for a long time. And we know what muscle gain can give people. It's like, so I don't know. If my mom was still fighting me on lifting, I would be the most annoying son. You know what I mean? But like you mentioned, like, I wonder too, lifting initially, if you haven't really done it before, it's super uncomfortable. Everything feels sore. It feels painful. So introducing lifting to them or some type of resistance training to them in a way that doesn't make them feel too beat up, right? Because a lot of times when people get a first training session with a personal trainer and they're older, the trainer sometimes will kill a person. Be like, that's what it's like, come back. But if you can introduce it to them in a way, maybe get them a light kettlebell, and just say, it's as simple as doing some of these movements at home throughout the day or whatever. That's something that it's in reach. It's in their house. It's not too far away from them. They don't have to go out to a gym, and they can slowly start incorporating, because people, it's surprising how fast you feel stronger by adding in a little bit of something. They'll feel the difference, and then maybe they'll start to seek it out more themselves.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I struggle with this a lot with my dad. He is very active though. So like he's up on his feet, he's down on his back, he's getting in and out of cars all day long. So he does move a lot, but like his diet's pretty terrible. And like he already had like open heart surgery and like a bunch of stuff, but he'll have a terrible diet, go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, oh yeah, you're totally fine. And it's like, man, like, you can't do this though. Like this is not going to end well. So like, I understand the struggle. So for me, I just have to find the like lowest barrier of entry and like lower it a couple more notches to make it like, hey, maybe you can wear ankle weights while you're at work, you know, like wear a vest like Casey, like stuff like that, I think is what I have to do. So making it as easy as possible without like almost making it passive, that sort of thing for my dad.
That vest is a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I mean, it'll probably make him feel cool too, you know? Like, yeah, I got a vest on. I'm a savage.
I think you can get a lot from asking questions, you know, asking. Someone's like, man, my knees really hurt, you know, and then you say, well, would you like them to feel better? Because I know a couple things that I think would really be helpful. And let them decide. They might be like, oh shit, no, this is the person that gives me that long ass speech about the gym and everything, and I don't want to go down that road. But I think Mental Muscle mentioned some of that to us in here. Like he basically was saying, you know, ask some questions, and maybe with that family member, I think this happens a lot with children, parents to children. Parents will be super frustrated with something that a kid just did, and they'll react and sometimes overreact. And then they don't really ever have an actual conversation about what happened. And it's not like, hey, here's what you did. Here's what I think is wrong. And here's why I think it's wrong. And here's why we don't act that way. Here's why this is like not acceptable. This is not going to work at school. It's not going to work here in this home. It's not going to, you have to explain like what went wrong. I remember my nephew was asking about like social media a while back, Hamish. And he's like, I'm not allowed to have a phone. I'm not allowed to have social media. Like he thought he was just being like left out of everything. Oh. And I said, oh, well, did anybody explain to you why? You know, they got 3 kids, you know, like things are moving fast when you have a bunch of kids. And he's like, no. I said, social media is fun. There's a lot of cool things on there, but a kid your age, you know, it's best for a kid your age. I said, I don't know exactly what your parents are thinking, but here's my thoughts. You know, I think that it's best for parents or for kids that are 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old to communicate with people in person and not have texts and different things. And I said, there's weird people out there that might try to harm you, might try to do something to you. So there's like a safety thing to it. And then your parents are just waiting till you're old enough and till you're mature enough to maybe be able to handle this. So it's not like they want to exclude you from fun. They're not trying to, because I was like, you still have video games, right? He goes, yeah, I got video games on my tablet. And I was like, well, see, you got video games on your tablet. Your parents don't really mind that, but they don't really want you messaging people back and forth and stuff because they can't like pay attention to that, and they can't protect you. Yeah, they can't protect you that way. And so, anyway, when I explained it to him that way, he was like, "Oh, okay." Like he was like totally, you know, he still was like missing. You know, he still feels like he's missing out, but at least it was explained to him. So, I think in situations like this, when you feel like you need to really, you know, go to somebody or go at them, you have to think about, you know, not just going at them, and you have to think about how to deliver a message to them in a way that's going to actually get them to do what you're doing. You're trying to sell them on something. And so you might have to say like, hey, I want to come over to your house. I'd like to go over because I know that you said your knees hurt, and I know that mom's complaining about her back. I'd love to help you guys with that. Could I come over this Saturday and just go over some stuff? I think it's really easy. Like, please, would you listen to some of the stuff I have to offer? Because I think it really helped. So I think it's like your only hope. But even then, they still might not do any of it.
You've gotten to the point that you are now the parent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A long time ago. Yeah.
Oh, man.
In so many aspects.
Yeah, I mean, your parents were like, you can't have more candy. Remember you had candy at lunch. You know, and they're protecting you, right? Now you're trying to protect them.
Let's go. That's a blessing, actually. That's a blessing to get there. And actually, this is how you say it, primal. It's P-ra-imal. Primal, Mike.
I get it.
Your name's going in.
Good job, Mike.
Good job. The nursing did. All right, this next question's from AMB. AMB. Hey guys, I started running not too long ago. In a previous episode, Mark mentioned practice nasal breathing, but as I try to go practice nasal breathing while running, I always get a runny nose and end up going for mouth breathing. Did you guys experience that? And if so, is there any exercises I can do to prevent that? Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I guess I would start by just saying that when your nose usually runs, I mean, sometimes it has to do with the weather. Sometimes it's like extremely cold and that just happens. But sometimes it just has to do with that you're breathing pretty erratically already. And even though you are able to stay within nasal breathing, the whole point of nasal breathing is to try to really calm yourself down and to try to be able to operate with like a modest heart rate. You want a lower heart rate over time with more exertion is what you're looking for. But if you're breathing in out of your nose, then you may as well breathe in the nose, out the mouth, because it's about the same thing. They're not really that different. Like part of what makes it different is that your nose is a smaller path and you're in a little bit of an oxygen debt because it's harder to breathe in through the nose. Or I'm sorry, it's harder to breathe out, and you're starting to have like your CO2 to oxygen ratio is becoming off, and that's what makes people like kind of panic in those situations. But usually it's just simply that you're just breathing too quickly. So if you can try to walk periodically as you're running, which is super annoying, that just might be where you need to start.
So there's that. Have you guys used the hostage tape nasal strips? I've been seeing people around here using them more.
Yeah.
So the nasal strips might be something that can help
open you up a little bit.
Open up that nose a little bit. There's a time aspect. It takes time getting used to nasal breathing. And there's one thing that I think it's a cue, and you should go check out our episode with Belisa Vranich. But it's a cue that I think long-term will help nasal breathing become something that is a passive thing and something that you're not now trying to do. I'm going to take my shirt off because I want to show you something, not just because I want to take my shirt off, but here we go.
Hey now.
All right, so
I think Oxygen Advantage talks a lot about clearing your nasal passages and stuff too, and he's got some methods for that.
Yeah, you should watch that. There's a video, like Mark said, Oxygen Advantage. If you go like this, just watch the video on clearing up your nose, Oxygen Advantage. It'll be a difference. But when people go from trying to breathe normally to nasal breathing, a lot of the times they start here. So it'll be like Mark mentioned, it's like now there's all this stuff going on in here, right? But the thing is breathing should be somewhat passive. So if you can if you start moving around these muscles, I'm not doing anything here. Nothing is starting from my nose. It's all down here. This can make it much easier to breathe through your nose. And you notice nothing's going on here. none of this is coming up. It's
like your stomach to your ribs. It's like lower stomach and then to ribs.
All here. And that'll help. First off, the breath is going to feel easier going down, but then it's something that can then, it becomes passive, right? So I think that's something to try to get used to as you start nasal breathing. And it's going to be a process, dog. Like it's going to take a little bit of time, but it will get better.
I think it's a little bit of like a pressure thing, as you're mentioning, like because you get like a little erratic, you start, and again, and I think Brian McKenzie has written about this. You know, Brian McKenzie's written a few books on the topic of nasal breathing, so you should check out some of the information he has. He has an Instagram where he talks about this stuff freely as well. Maybe he has some YouTube stuff. He's on podcasts, and he's been on this podcast before. But he basically is stating that if you start to get yourself breathing really hard, even if you are nasal breathing, you're still kind of in the same situation as if you were breathing, not necessarily in and out of your mouth, but your breathing starts to get erratic. And that's what you're trying to actually control. And you're trying to ultimately actually work on controlling your heart rate, because you're trying to get yourself to stay in like zone 2 cardio. And zone 2 cardio is not the only place to build out cardio. There's many other ways to build your cardio out, but it's a good fundamental foundation, especially for something like long distance running.
Yep. Good?
Yeah, good.
All right. Amb, your name is now going into the tub. Okay, let's see. All right. From Jeremy Boudreau. So fuck your elbow is one of my favorite motivational quotes. But I would very much like to unfuck my left elbow. Anything you would recommend for elbow health?
Oh man, the evil elbow. You know, I got to go again. I know we talk about it a ton, but myofascial release. check out some of the books by Jill Miller, check out some of the books by Kelly Starrett. Getting into like areas of the tricep, I think that I would also look into getting a practitioner. We're very fortunate. We got 00 around here. We got our boy Oscar, who's able to help us out. And I think that people have no idea how tacked down and how messed up their triceps are. And so if you have someone working some of those areas, it's going to, your forearms are kind of messed up too, but not anywhere. You'll be completely shocked, especially if you're somebody you're trying to push good weight via like benching or some dumbbell presses and shoulder work and stuff. Mm-hmm. You would be shocked. Someone gets into the tricep, they start getting deep all the way up into like the armpit area. You're going to be screaming. You're not even going to believe the amount of range of motion that gets improved by working through that tricep. So that would be where I would start, is to really look at getting a lot of work done through the tricep.
So there's that, and you can do that with a practitioner. You can also do that on your own. Mm-hmm. There are some things where it's like, if you push down, like if you're right here and then you push down on your arm and you resist back and you hold that for periods of time. I'll sometimes do this again. This is some of the things that I just do randomly. And then let's say you're pushing
up. Isometrically flexing your tricep as hard as you can, like pushing down on like a desk or your own wrist or something.
Right. And the same thing, the opposite direction. Those types of things are things that I used to have. I did have tennis elbow, but you'll do that for like 20, 30 seconds at a time. Mm-hmm. It'll help the strength of that area. And I oddly enough think that something like helping your grip strength, getting better over time, could be something that does also help your elbows over time too. Right. So having things like this around, because
extensor muscles as well.
Exactly.
Opening the hand.
Because like if you hold something like this and then you start moving it around, I remember when I started doing this a while back, I started feeling things in my elbow, right? So this increasing grip strength is something that I think can also help your elbow, but these are things to just kind of do over time. So smashing, the isometric holds, grip strength. You could also try some voodoo floss too. Kelly's talked about that.
Voodoo floss would be amazing, and then do some like tricep push downs while your arm is wrapped, and do some like push ups and stuff like that. Getting in there, basically putting your arm up on a desk that's real high, and then putting a ball like underneath it, mm-hmm. and really digging into there. I think you're going to be completely surprised and shocked at what it will do. I did some of that when my elbow was jacked up, but at the time, what I needed to do was I needed to be like, okay, I'm going to take 6 months and go fix this thing. Yeah. And I didn't do that. And it probably actually would have only taken 3 months. But when you're in training and you're strong and you're just in whatever sport and you feel like you're kind of at your best, it doesn't feel like you have 2 weeks, even a week. I was smart enough to be able to take a week off here and there and be like, oh, it kind of got a little bit better, but I wasn't strong enough to be like, I need to take off like a couple months. And sometimes that's what you need to do. So I hate that advice. I hate the doctor advice of like, don't do anything for a little while, but maybe you do switch gears and do something a little different just for a small period of time. And recognize this too, is that the elbow is involved in every single thing that you do. It's involved in your bench. It's involved in your squat. And it's involved in your deadlift. In your squat, it's got to be, down and back to really make that chest big and to try to keep your posture. And in the deadlift, especially if you're doing under-over grip, it's getting twisted. So maybe some lifting straps for a little while. Maybe just paying attention. That 10 sets of 10 that you wanted to do on your, seated rows or something, because you heard about German volume training. It's like, you got to realize this whole area is getting destroyed the whole time.
Yeah.
And then you got your curls and you got your tricep. I mean, just everything. So might be a good idea to concentrate on things that don't use your arm so much. Maybe more leg training, maybe more stuff with the sled, maybe some conditioning work. Just try to, the elbow is involved. You do the rower, you do the ski erg, you do the assault bike. Like the elbow's involved in everything. So try to really push that way back to where the elbow is not really that involved anymore for a little while. See if that helps too.
And I guess as you're kind of in this phase of trying to repair this, or at least minimize the pain, maybe check up on the diet, see if you can pull the carbs out, as much as you can, even though I personally don't like doing that, or maybe he already is, but just something else to think about.
get a little inflammation down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Next
Good,
up,
guys. Okay, Jeremy Boudreau, you're going in the tub. Next up, okay.
I would have to mention as well, like, don't forget about the power of cold plunging. So any of the questions that we've pretty much gotten so far, other than the marry, fuck, kill, cold plunging would be useful to all those people. Anyone that has pain, whether it be mental or physical or a combination thereof, cold plunging works amazing.
Yeah, it does.
Not going to solve everything for you, but it helps.
It is. Sorry. Get in the fucking cold.
It helps.
Power Project family, if you're trying to increase your muscle mass, if you're trying to lose body fat, if you're trying to stick to your nutrition plan, if you're trying to get fit, pretty much if there's anything you're trying to do for your health, we know that sleep is the biggest determining factor to help you get from point A to point B. That's why we've been sleeping on 8 Sleep mattresses for probably more than 2 years now. And the main reason is the technology behind the Pod Pro. Now, the Pod Pro is like the Tesla of beds. It will change its temperature based off of how you're sleeping during the night. And if you have a partner that's sleeping on the other side, they could have their own temperature settings. We all sleep hot here, and I used to wake up in a puddle of my own sweat.
Gross.
That doesn't happen anymore because of the 8 Sleep mattress, and I've been getting the best sleep of my life. Now, if you don't want to replace your mattress, you can just get the Pod Pro cover, and you can put that over your current mattress to get all the benefits of 8 Sleep. But if you also need to replace your old nasty mattress, you can get the Pod Pro cover and the 8 Sleep mattress. Andrew, how can they get it?
Yes, you guys got to head over to 8sleep.com/powerproject, and you guys will automatically receive $150 off of your order. Again, 8sleep.com/powerproject. Links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes.
Purple desk chair, my favorite color. When weight training for sports, should you focus on movements that mimic the sports movements, or should you focus on the antagonist movements to balance out your body and prevent overuse injuries?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I think, obviously in the sport that you're in, you're going to be practicing the movement, on the mats, on the court, on the field. So those can't be overlooked. Those movements have to happen. They're really important. To train like the opposite, I don't know so much about training the opposite, but I would say that, like, if you are in a sport where you are a lot of sports, there's a lot of like movement, right? And so that means that, how do you move around? You move around with your feet. And that might lead you to think, okay, well, if I'm going to move my feet around, if knee injuries are pretty common in this sport, then it would be good for me to train my entire leg, not just the calf or the shin.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do want to get into, like, if you're a soccer player or basketball player, probably a great idea for you to train the shins specifically, because maybe they don't get enough work the right way. Maybe the calves and some of the other muscles are getting more targeted by some of the movements that you're doing. And so that's where I would look at, like, oh yeah, let's, if I'm doing this sport, let me try to train some of this. But personally, I have liked to keep most of those things separate. I don't think it's a great idea to blend the two things together. I think that, like, throwing med balls and doing things and doing box jumps and stuff like that in the gym, it's a way to train, and it's a way to do something in a really controlled environment. Where, in basketball, if I go to jump, I could jump off of somebody's foot, or I could land on someone's foot when I come back down, or I could land on the ball, or something crazy can happen. The floor could be wet. In the gym, you get to really control the variables, and I can say, I'm going to jump on the 16-inch box. It's going to be perfectly safe.
Yeah.
It's not going to move. It's not going to do anything. So sports-specific stuff, I think, can be kind of cool, but at the same time, I think, you do your sport and you do your training, and they're kind of separate things.
I agree. I think one big concept to keep in mind is, like, at least this is what I do for myself. It's not something that you have to, but it's something I think has helped me out a lot, is just everything I do through a very long range of motion. I'm mindful of the load. It doesn't mean I never do things that have a shorter range of motion, but I do try to do everything I can to really stretch the body out with load, with different movements. And that's something that's allowed me to, overall, everything, I just feel like I have access to all of my body in all of its range, right? So if you could figure out a way to do that with some of the movements you do in the gym, you will be, like, I think you sent us this clip from Starting Strength. I forgot his name, but he was talking about, like, people are overdoing flexibility or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But and I wish we could play that clip, but I think that, yeah, people can stretch a lot, but if you can work with load in those ranges, you're not just going to become flexible, you're going to become strong in those ranges. There's a big difference there. I do think, for example, jiu-jitsu is a sport that in nature is very kyphotic in posture, and you end up being here a lot. And you'll see a lot of really experienced grapplers who've done it over time who maybe haven't lifted as much. That ends up kind of being their go-to posture when they're walking around. You see with wrestlers and stuff too. So there can be a big benefit in weight training for the back chain, right? Because it's not necessarily just to fix your posture, so that you are very strong in that area too. Lifting overall is just going to help you be a stronger athlete. Things from like Landmine University, even though those things aren't included specifically in jiu-jitsu in that way, but it'll help you also allow you to be more explosive, right? It's not like there are some things I do in the gym that are specific to grappling, but I don't think those are the things that really move the needle. The things that really move the needle is using weight to get strong in all different positions so that I can then just transfer that strength to the mat.
Yeah, and it could be like a balance thing, right? You could be balancing out. Like you're saying with wrestlers, it's very common to see high-level wrestlers walk with their feet pointed out quite a bit, and their lower back is like tucked underneath them a little bit. The hips are kind of forward.
Yeah.
And it might be good to do some training that is expressing like opposite ranges of motion of that, just so that they still have access to those types of movements and they're less likely to get injured.
Cool. All right. Purple desk chair. You're now going into the tub. How much time we got?
So we're at 44 minutes right now.
44 minutes.
I guess one more thing on that topic would be like, I guess we undersell the fact that we do sports-specific stuff. We just don't really think about it that much because I think you and I and Andrew, I think we're all looking at stuff as like kind of more of a habit rather than... But we're not even really thinking, like we got these grippers, like this is a little bit specific. I mean, you want a stronger grip, it's going to help your elbows and everything, but
that's true.
You want a stronger grip to like kill people a little bit better, a little faster. There's things like jumping rope, to be more springy.
Yeah.
There's drills that I'll do in the gym that don't even really occur to me as being drills, but like lunges, walking lunges, step ups, like those. Okay, you're going to be on one leg when you're running, so let's do some unilateral stuff, So there are things like that it would be a good idea, just because it doesn't really. There's no negative to it. Now there might be a negative to try to like, rig up, something that, something that's going to mimic you like throwing someone's body. And you got like bands and cables and craziness going on, and you're trying to have it be 200 pounds. And like maybe you hurt yourself that way, and maybe it would just be better that you just practice rolling with somebody. But there are kind of smaller things, I guess, that we're doing that we don't even really pay attention to. Even just you guys being barefoot and doing jiu-jitsu, like being barefoot more often, strengthening the feet, strengthening the toes, you're barefoot in your sport.
We're barefoot right now on top of this shit.
That's right.
I mean, like... I want to kind of add on a little bit right there. That's a really big deal. Whenever we talk about any of this stuff, it's not like we have a program written out and we're like, okay, let's add jump rope in or let's add lunges in. These are just, some of these things are just things that we do each day outside of just being in the gym. So like I have my jump rope in my backpack so that I can just spring into some hops every single day, and it's a habit. And if you can do certain things like that, if you can just have things around so that they become habitual and they become part of your day, you don't have to bother trying to add it into your training routine for it to be some extra undertaking for your training. It's just now part of what you do, which can help accelerate your progress that much faster. So it's huge.
Next up.
All right. Did I put his name? I think I put his name in the bin already.
You did, yep.
I did. Yep. Nootropics. Every single biohacker and their mother talks about the benefits of lion's mane or alpha GPC, blah, blah, blah. We have this mix of supplement. But no one really tells you how to analyze what you actually should be trying to take or what problems you may have. That's why Andy Triana has made the Nootropics ebook now on our website at powerproject.live. Now, we've had Andy on our podcast multiple times, and he's educated us on so many different things along with nootropics. But in this ebooks, he goes in depth on how to analyze what your problems may be specifically and how to utilize nootropics to help fix those issues or to help progress in certain areas. Like if you're wanting to speak better, think faster, faster, communicate better. There's so many things he goes in depth on in this ebook, and you can get it now on our website at powerproject.live. The link's in the description along with the podcast show notes. Zach82, this is going to be a long one. Do you guys have any advice for people with sleep apnea for better sleep hygiene? I wear mouth tape, nasal strips, sleep mask, and my nose pillow for my sleep apnea machine. I track my sleep and still am only able to get 5 to 6 hours. And even with my room set at a low temperature, I still wake up drenched in sweat. I do all things you guys talk about on your show, also walking, getting sun, no blue light an hour before bed. Plus, I strength train 5 times a week and do cardio 2 to 3 times a week. I'm 40 years old now. I'm trying to prioritize sleep since I'm going to go back to school for a degree in kinesiology, and I feel sleep is super important for my success in the program. Also, thanks for all the content you guys create. It's an instrumental part in my success of quitting drinking alcohol, getting my health back on track, and getting after my dreams. You guys seriously do so much. Thank you. 3 prayer hands. Wow.
Dude, that's so cool.
Congratulations.
For reals.
On being able to stop that stuff. That's really difficult for people. So if we played any part in that, much appreciated. I think what he's alluding to, what he's getting at here, is that he wants to sleep with the 3 of us, which I think we have room because that bed is pretty big.
King size. It can fit 4 men comfortably.
Ish.
Yeah.
We have to be on top of each other a little bit.
Or we could just be like sideways, maybe, go lengthwise, have our feet hanging off the bed.
2 guys one way, 2 guys the other.
Well, if each of us are snuggling with each other, there's
plenty
absolutely
of
space.
Yeah, definitely.
Shorter people can go on the ends, and we could all be diagonal.
Oh, that's because you want to be close. Well, we don't know how big Zach is, so it doesn't mean we're going to be
if
next
he's
to
like
each other.
6'4", we're screwed.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think.
Remember, everybody, he took it there first. Okay.
Low sus, bro.
Nah,
not at all. Just friendship.
Nah.
Just friendship.
It's all good. Yeah, sleep can be complicated. I would say usually if you think about it, you know what's kind of blocking you and what's slowing you down with your sleep. I would say that maybe there's a couple things that you're maybe not super aware of. I'm sure you've heard about the phone. Trying to get away from your phone a half an hour before bed would be a good idea. Some people are sensitive to light, and for me, I will sometimes wear the blue blocking glasses at night. I also use light from different areas of my house rather than just. So if I'm in the bathroom, I won't use the light from my actual bathroom because they're super bright. But I'll use the light that's like just down the hallway a little bit. That will give some light to that room enough to where I can see everything just fine, but the lights aren't, burning in my face. So little tricks like that, little things like that. And just some general like sleep hygiene would be try to make sure your last meal, and I would try to be strict with this for a little while, try to make sure your last meal is about an hour or so, maybe even further away from bedtime.
Yeah.
I know some people will say about 2 hours. So you might need to try that, but I don't want to make the rule too strict so that you don't ever try it. So at first, see if your last meal is at, 7:30. It's not like a crazy giant meal. It's going to, sit around forever. And then maybe you go to bed at like 9 or something, or whatever that math is, hour and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
Just something reasonable like that. You might find that it helps. If you're tracking your sleep, you might be able to see like, oh, this helped. Oh, that didn't help. Oh, the apnea mask like helps, so I should actually use it. Is the apnea mask like really helping, or is it not help? You might be able to kind of look at it by tracking. You might say like, my sleep is similar. It's just that damn thing is so annoying that it keeps kind of waking me up. Maybe you haven't adjusted to it yet. The kind of last thing I'll say is try to find some ways to get yourself to breathe really hard during the day. I don't know what your practices are, but I think the average American goes around without really getting their heart rate to like 140 or 150 for any significant amount of time. They might hit a flight of stairs and be out of breath, and then their heart rate goes through the roof, maybe because they're not in great shape. But I think that would be something that you want to explore. Get your heart rate to 125 to 140 for 30 minutes at a time. It's something to work into if you haven't practiced this before, but that would be my recommendation. If you can do that like 2 or 3 times a week, I think that breathing during the day is going to allow you to have a variability with your breathing to where when you're calm, you'll even be breathing better and your resting heart rate should be lower.
So he has cardio 2 to 3 times a week here right now.
Oh, good.
But like, if you could figure out a way to, if you're doing that cardio 2 to 3 times a week, maybe you have a day where you do a shorter spurt of cardio, but it's maybe 10 minutes. Maybe a little bit of HIIT could be something that you could add to that. The big things, and you mentioned this, but a lot of people do find it hard not to eat right before bed. And I do notice if I eat close to bedtime, I am warmer when I'm sleeping and my resting heart rate is higher. Right. So whenever I keep my food 3 hours, I try to keep my food 3 hours away from the time I go to sleep. I always have way better sleep quality. So that's huge. And then the time you get to bed, I know you said you're getting 5 to 6 hours, but if you can do that earlier, I don't know if you're sleeping early, if you're sleeping at 11 p.m. versus 9 p.m. If you can get to bed a little bit earlier, that would be something that would do you so much good. For me, myself too, and for a lot of people we've talked to, an earlier bedtime does seem to help them get better sleep quality. That's not everybody, but that is what I've noticed with myself, and that's what many people tend to notice. So that could be something you could try. That could be something you could try.
Try even just a half hour earlier if you can. Get to bed half hour. Just try that at first.
Yeah, and then the consistency thing. So go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time as closely and as consistently as possible. For myself, with the dinner, or the last meal thing, I'll have dinner anywhere between 4 and 6 p.m. Then I'll go to bed like 9 or 10. But I'll still have like a little something, whether it be a protein shake or whatever. But I try to get that in at least 2 hours before bed. So like, even though dinner's not the last meal for me is what I'm getting at. Cause I don't want anybody to think
I do pretty much the same thing.
I just don't want anybody to think like, oh, dinner at 7 and bed at 9. Like, man, that'd be kind of tough for me, cause I eat a lot. So, that's what I'm getting at is like, I have dinner pretty early in comparison when I go to bed, but I still have another meal, 2 hours before I actually go to sleep. And then, what do you guys think about like melatonin and stuff like that for him?
Some people love it. I know that there's been some sleep people who say like it's not great to do, and I don't personally do that, but I've been seeing a lot of people dig it and like using it, but I just never have because I never wanted to become dependent upon melatonin to fall asleep or to get good sleep.
I'll definitely watch any stimulants that you take, whether it be kratom or caffeine. Like what part of the day is it, and I've noticed for myself that I've been doing something a little different with supplements more recently. I don't take them every day. I'm taking stuff a little bit more every other day, and I don't understand what the difference is. But like I take ZMA, I take it every other day, and so far it's kind of working out, and I don't take it on the weekends. Again, I don't have any idea what the hell's going on, but it seems like it's effective. I don't know if because you take it every day, maybe you don't need it every day, and maybe it causes some other disruption. I'm not even sure. But that might be something to consider. So if you're going to do something like melatonin, maybe you don't allow yourself to become dependent upon it, where you only use it like twice a week, or maybe use it every other week, where you're not using it and relying upon it so much. There's, I think it's BSN, Nick Bare's company. They have a product. Damn, I lost the name of this product. But they have a sleep product, a sleep supplement on their site. And you might want to check that. It's called Peak Sleep. There you go.
Peak Sleep.
You might want to try that product out. It has pretty good flavor. I've tried that with some success before. I don't know if it has melatonin in it, but it does have like a sleep formula in there. And again, it's not something I take every day. I'll take it like kind of every other day. It kind of just depends. So,
yeah, I've been digging the one from First Detachment. They have one, and it doesn't hit you like some other sleep aids where it just like knocks you out and you're just like, whoa, what was that? It was like a very slow, gradual thing. But if I'm going to wake up early and do jujitsu the next day, I can't take anything because I wake up super like that sleep inertia is just fucking, it's still, that train's going and I can't slow it down. So I wake up really groggy. So yeah, definitely be careful. I just want to throw it out there because sometimes people will lean on that sort of thing, and then it's like, yeah, it does become a dependency. And if are they actually asleep or are they sedated? There's some information that says that they would be more sedated than asleep.
I know our boy Superbrain recommends like going outside later in the evening. So now it's kind of weird because we're in summer, getting in summer, and it's pretty bright outside. But I think as long as it's like later on in the evening, if it's starting to get dark, the moon is out there somewhere. And from some of the stuff that he told us, that's supposed to be helpful in calming you down.
Yeah.
Another thing that's helpful is temperature. So getting hot will actually help cool you down. A cold plunge can feel amazing too, but cold plunging and then probably a shower afterwards might help even more. So if you have access to a hot tub, have access to a sauna, getting your body a little bit warm, your body's then going to fight that a little bit to try to cool off a little bit more. And that's exactly what you're looking for your sleep. And maybe we can figure out a way to get this guy set up with a 8 sleep mattress or something.
That I don't know.
We'll try to pull some strings. We'll see what we can do.
We'll see what we can do. We will see what we can do. But
maybe a
Zach,
discount.
Yeah. Well, I think we could figure that out.
It helps us a lot to have the cooler mattress top to go to sleep because we're always burning hot.
He did say he does already use the AC, but yeah, warm shower. And Zach, we'll figure out something as far as the 8 sleep. We'll direct message me on Direct message me on Discord. And Quantum Cloud, if you're watching this, you haven't messaged me on Discord, so I could even send you your shit.
Oh man, we might have to send.
Maybe we'll just send Quantum Clouds to Zach.
Oh,
all right, Zach. You're going to get Quantum Cloud's 8 Sleep pod cover since he hasn't gotten back to me yet.
Damn it.
Quantum Cloud, that's your fault. But if you get to me, we can still figure something out for you since you haven't messaged me back on Discord.
And then that supplement NAC, Dan Garner recommended it for staying asleep.
Yeah.
The hard part is I can't find like a high quality one because he recommended, I'm going to get the dosages wrong, but like 100 milligrams or whatever. And then the only thing I could find on like Amazon's like 1,000, right? So like it's dosed really weird, and which means it's probably wrong, like not even like the right stuff. But he had said NAC, which I can't pronounce the full term.
Something cysteine.
Sure.
Sounds about right.
Acetylcysteine. There we go. Yeah.
That stuff. Take it.
All right, cool. Zach, your name is now going to the tub also, because I guess this is that fair?
He's definitely going to get something else now just because of that.
That's not fair, though. What do you think? Should we put his name? Put it in, whatever.
He's gonna win twice.
We can. We'll, all right, then. If he wins, then we'll pick somebody else too. Because we're gonna pick 2 people for.
Why do you put him in?
We're gonna get you some Vivo things.
Those guys are all trapped in there.
Yeah.
So did you put holes in the lid so they could breathe?
No.
Oh, dude, you gotta hurry.
What do you mean holes in the lid?
They're gonna die.
Oh, okay. I see what you're doing.
There's no oxygen.
All right, we're gonna pick 2
them.
people. Whoever wins, you're gonna win Vivos of your choice, or we'll send you a gift card.
There you go. Who's myself, Mark?
Oh, so
good job, Mark.
Like my elbow hurts.
Have you guys seen that episode of The Office where
Look who won?
He's the manager, and then he ends up picking himself, and it's
cool.
his. Then he picks his wife, and it's like, oh well, whatever. Mark, we're gonna get you some Vivo stuff sent. I'm gonna DM you on Discord, and we'll get that sent out your way. Make sure you're following Vivo too, bro, because that's important. Mark, you got to pick one more person. Not Zach. Not Zach. Not Zach. Not Zach.
I want Zach to win now.
Let it not be Zach.
It is
Good.
indeed
It's not
Zach.
No, it's not. It can't be.
Zach 82.
Are you fucking kidding me?
you.
Fuck.
Pick
All right,
another
Zach,
person?
you also wins. Yeah, pick one more person.
That guy just made more than us on this whole podcast.
Yeah, pick one more person because we're going to give away. Yeah.
Jesus.
All right, so 3 people.
Told you.
Freaking Zach.
CXX.
CXX.
The fuck, marry, kill guy. Okay. I'm going to DM you guys on Discord, and we're going to get you guys some Vivo stuff.
I bet the fuck, marry, kill guy just goes around to different Discords and puts that same thing in to just get himself
Doesn't even
to
pay attention.
into these contests.
Yeah.
I dig it. I like it.
Okay. So.
We need to have more people on there, don't we?
On where?
Discord.
Yeah, we have
people are chatting it up on there, but we need more, right?
Yeah, go join the Discord if you want to get in on these Q&As.
What the hell's wrong with these people?
It's almost 2,600 people in there, crushing it, killing it, being pervs. Nah, they're great. All y'all are great.
People being pervs, perving on us.
There are a few. We kick them out though.
Couple pervs.
Really? People have been kicked out?
Oh yeah, there have been people that have been kicked out. Yeah,
Dang,
our boy
we
Owen
made it.
Our boy
Owen's gotten kicked out?
He moderates
can't
people.
believe-
Oh, okay.
He
I was like,
moderates
damn.
them. Yeah. So
He makes burner accounts and just talks crap about us all the time.
yeah. By the way, guys, these will be out soon. So the Parasandal V2 will
This
be
looks
out
so good.
very soon. So keep your eye out for that, and we'll message the Discord winners.
Thank you so much for all the questions. Andrew, take us on out of here, buddy.
Alrighty, yeah. Thank you everybody for hanging out with us on today's episode. Please drop those comments down below. Let us know what you guys think about today's Q&A, and if you guys want to get in on the Q&A, check out the Discord links below. Follow the podcast at MB Power Project all over the place. My Instagram is at I am Andrew Z. And Nsima, where you at?
Discord's down below. Join if you want to get in on the next Q&A to win some cool shit and get your questions answered. Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, at Nsima Inyang on TikTok and Twitter. Mark.
At Mark Smelly Bell. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.